Greg Ehrenberg here with Adam Scherer. It is the Tuesday edition of the NBA Injury Report and another jam-packed NBA Injury Report. Do us a favor, like this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. It really does help us out a whole lot. We appreciate it. And any comments, leave them below. If I say something stupid, if I call a free square, a squee frere, or whatever the hell it was I said yesterday, make fun of me in the comment section. Let me know. And I know that Peter Viles, bro, he's listening to my words closely because he DM'd me yesterday to let me know that I sounded like an idiot yesterday. I appreciate all comments. Today, I'm going to be doing my best to make everything sound as it's supposed to sound. Starting with the Suns news that just came out before you and I started, Adam. DeAndre Ayton and Jay Crowder, neither of them were expected to play today. They are now upgraded to questionable. How does this impact the Suns front court?
It makes anything that you were going to do there a lot more risky because this is the last game of the night. It starts an hour and a half after the next closest game. With the exception of this game, we basically have like the same slate as last night where everything's starting within an hour and a half of each other. So you have this island game where Bismack Biyombo and JaVale McGee are both pretty strong options in tournaments. If Ayton is out, if they're in, they're both useless. Cameron Johnson, same kind of thing. He's a good value if Jay Crowder is out. If Crowder is in, I really have no interest in paying $5,400 for Cameron Johnson, and you're not going to have a whole lot to late swap to. So it's a situation where hopefully we get some more clarity between now and 7 o'clock. But otherwise, it really, I think, just kind of comes down to how risk averse you are, because while it does make it very risky to go to those guys, it's also going to make it the reward potentially better, because you're just going to have much lower ownership on guys like Bismack Biyombo and Cameron Johnson now than you would if we still had Ayton and Crowder listed as out.
Yeah, maybe we'll get that news before the game. Maybe not. It is a situation where if we don't get the news ahead of time, there might not be a lot of options to swap on. The next piece of news, we've seen the New Orleans Pelicans be massively shorthanded in their most recent games, but they could be getting some reinforcements back. Valanciunas played in their last game. Brandon Ingram now upgraded to questionable. We've got Josh Hart out. If Ingram sits again, what value is left to look at from the Pelicans?
Yeah, I mean, with Hart out, if Ingram's out too, it increases the likelihood that Alexander Walker plays substantial minutes. The risk that you're always running there is that he's very inefficient, and he kind of views himself, I think, as Dylan Brooks views himself. Just, if the ball touches his hands, it's going up, and that can be something that gets you benched pretty quickly when it's not going in. But from a DFS standpoint, it also gives you a massive ceiling. And when you take out Josh Hart and potentially take out Brandon Ingram, not only are you removing Ingram's usage, you're also removing all of those minutes that Josh Hart plays. Makes it a little bit easier for somebody like Alexander Walker to just find his way onto the floor for 30 plus minutes and look like a pretty good option.
The next piece of news here, we've got Bradley Beal. He is out today. We've seen Bradley Beal out a number of times this year, so we kind of get a sense of what happens when he's off the court. There's more usage, goes to Spencer Dinwiddie. Kyle Kuzma has had some ridiculous games with Bradley Beal out over the last couple of months, and even some big games when Bradley Beal was in. But how do you view the Wizards without Beal on the court tonight?
It makes them look better pretty much across the board. You mentioned that, Dinwiddie's averaged 1.3 DraftKings points per minute in 9 games without Beal this year. Kuzma's averaged 1.12 DraftKings points per minute in those same nine games. You still have the risks with the Wizards where they still potentially can run a very deep rotation, but we've also seen them paring that rotation down. We know that they're running 2 centers now. And so I think it's likely that in addition to Dinwiddie and Kuzma, that you just get more playing time for somebody like Denny Avdia, who would be my guess at who starts in place of Beal. You potentially could get Corey Kispert. He would look like a good value at 3,300. But I do think that Washington is making an effort to at least run some semblance of an NBA rotation and not continue playing 11 guys and basically just pissing off everybody on the team. So from a DFS standpoint, it makes it so in addition to the increased usage for Kuzma and Dinwiddie, you're likely to see substantial playing time increase for at least one of Avdia or Kispert.
Yeah, and I think the starting lineup will dictate a lot of that. And who knows, maybe Hachimura starts to play more minutes. Something we're going to need the starting lineup in 4-4, which hopefully we'll know later on by the time we do the deeper dive and live before lock. Next piece of injury news, which I'm very excited to share with everybody because I've really been getting Miami Heat fans upset as of late. I've been calling Jimmy Butler soft. I've been saying Tyler Hero shouldn't win 6th Man of the Year. It should go to Kevin Love. And Jimmy Butler, toe injury. He's questionable. He's on the injury report. Missed last game with the toe injury. Jimmy Butler, low-key, is the guard version of Anthony Davis. Gets hurt all the time during games, doesn't play a lot, just doesn't, for whatever reason, get made fun of in the same way as Anthony Davis. And I'm trying to fill that gap. I want to make fun of Jimmy Butler Adam, is he going to be able to play through this devastating toe injury?
I thought he was going to play yesterday, but didn't. So I don't know if he doesn't though. We got a blueprint yesterday of kind of what that looks like. You also had PJ Tucker out yesterday, and so you got both of Caleb Martin and Max Strus sliding into the starting lineup. At least one of them will most likely start today. If Butler is out, there's likely to be increased playing time for both, one way or the other. But you also get increased usage for Tyler Hero. And to your other point about him probably not deserving sixth man of the year, he started out the year playing like he was a totally different player, but he's reverted back to what he has been ever since he's been in the league. And this isn't to say he will never be good, that he doesn't have any redeeming, qualities or anything, but he's not that good right now. But he's still going to get a lot of usage. Like if Butler is out, you're still looking at like a 30+ % usage rate for Hero, probably playing 32 minutes or so. He's still a good DFS play despite his flaws.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too, is that Tyler Hero, like part of it is kind of tongue in cheek. And I do think that Kevin Love, just to bring a little bit of a betting angle on this, Kevin Love was 65-1 to win sixth man of the year. And I just don't think Tyler Hero has been significantly better than him. So that's why I kind of brought that up more than anything. Tyler Hero did play really well the first couple months of the season. He just hasn't over the last month. 37% from the field, 32% from three. He's been inefficient, but the shot volume is going to matter in DFS. So if Jimmy Butler's out, I don't really care that much about what my personal opinions are on some of these players. But something you should be caring about is our partnership with Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports. If you guys are not signed up for Yahoo, you could do it using the link in the description box below. If you head on over to Yahoo, make an account, make a deposit, enter a contest, you get 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. Find all of the tools you need to make winning NBA DFS lineups, projections, ownership projections, and all of the other tools that we have for identifying good plays. Getting on with the rest of the injury report, and you guys want to stick around until the end because Jokic is questionable, and that's what we're going to close with on this show. But until we get there right now, we've got D'Angelo Russell. He is doubtful to play, dealing with the shin injury, left the Timberwolves last game early. Adam, if they're assuming there's no D'Angelo Russell since he's doubtful, what are we looking at in terms of usage for Anthony Edwards and Karl-Anthony Towns?
Yeah, you should see a bump for both of those guys. You also have Patrick Beverley expected to return, so he should slide into the starting lineup and pick up a lot of the assist work. But still an increase in opportunities for Edwards and for Towns. Also potentially Jalen Noel off the bench, even though he's not a lock to play 26 minutes or anything. With Beverly back, you could still get 22 minutes from a high usage guy at a sub 4K price tag.
Yeah, and I still think ultimately there's probably going to be better guys to pay up for, but a little bit of a bump to Edwards and Towns, and at least in other times this year, they have gone overlooked in some of these spots without Russell, and we've gotten Edwards or Towns at reduced ownership. So we'll see the ownership numbers lie, but that could be something that makes sense as a GPP play. Moving on to the Nets in the front court, Paul Millsap, I don't know what the deal is with him. Apparently he's looking for a team where he get more playing time. I would think that could just be the Nets now, considering their injuries in the front court with LaMarcus Aldridge out. But we still have Paul Millsap listed as out. LaMarcus Aldridge is out with an ankle injury. Is there value to be had in the front court from the Nets?
I think so. Nick Claxton started the last game. He only played like 17 minutes, but that's a game where Aldridge was in. So you got like 15 minutes from Aldridge. You got like 15 from Griffin. You could conceivably see 24 minutes from Nick Claxton here, or even more, assuming he remains in the starting lineup. So I do think there's some value there. Certainly a spot where you're going to want to pay attention to ownership, because I don't think that you should necessarily be completely confident that he's just going to go play 28 minutes and put up a great score. But there's certainly a path to that.
And now the big news. Here's what we're going to close with. The most important part of the entire slate, Nikola Jokic, who's been an absolute fantasy monster, is questionable to play today. DeMarcus Cousins is also questionable to play. Now, DeMarcus Cousins was not in the Nuggets rotation last game. He's also not been good with Denver. He's always been a good fantasy producer on a points per minute basis. Real life player, not really there anymore. But I think we would have to consider him if Jokic isn't out. But what happens to Denver if neither Jokic nor Cousins play?
I think you kind of just look at the starting lineup for the most part, because you would most likely get JaMychal Green in the starting lineup. He's 3K flat on DraftKings with power forward eligibility. We've had games this year where Green starts and then ends up, still not playing a lot and burns us. But at 3K flat, that's a risk I'm willing to take if Jokic and Cousins are out and Green is starting. You certainly can look there. Similarly, you have Zeke Naji, who we know is a very good point per minute guy. You would have him either starting or coming off the bench, either one, offering some value. Like if he comes off the bench, he's obviously riskier, but he's also very likely to be lower owned than JaMychal Green if we assume Green is starting. So that's a spot where, you could just make that pivot in tournaments and hope for the best. If he starts, Najee would look like a fantastic value option.
Yeah, and then what do you make of DeMarcus Cousins in a situation where if Jokic sits but Boogie plays?
I would just want a lot of Cousins. Like he actually, from a like he's only center eligible, but he's 3,400. So like position wise, he's not as useful as guys like Najee or JaMychal Green. But if you were to get DeMarcus Cousins in the starting lineup, I just assume he's going to play 24 minutes or something and be pretty close to a guy that you probably need in a lot of lineups.
All right, that is going to do it for us. Like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you think Jimmy Butler is the toughest guy in the league, if you are upset by any of my heat takes, let me know in the comment section below. Make fun of me if I said anything stupid again. Other than that, good luck tonight, guys, and let's win some money.